proud supporter of Mountain West Athletics. Grab a delicious, refreshing Pepsi and always be celebrating. As the women are underway, some team notes. Individual champions, of course, last year, Wayne Kaladi of New Mexico, and she is in the field. She was the one, as we mentioned, if you just joined us, Kaladi took honors at Notre Dame this year, the prestigious national race, and did so with a 12-second margin. And to Kurgat, her teammate, was the champion in 2017. If you were in New Mexico at the golf course at the time, at the home turf of the Lobos, Kurgat that day just ran away from the field and had a very impressive individual run. Teammate Alice Wright took the honors in 2016, and in 2015 was the great Ali Ostrander of Boise State. We mentioned the national rankings: New Mexico 11th, Boise State 13th, Air Force 14th. Also of note, Kaladi, of course, second at the Nuttycombe this year. She led for a good portion of that race and finished in the second spot. Some team notes. We noted for Air Force, women currently 14th, their highest ranking in program history, to be sure. The Nuttycombe finished 8th. That was the second finish by any Air Force squad, men or women. And Mahala Norris, Michaela Gallagher, two of the many Falcons to watch in the field today. Of course, Boise State, Claire O'Brien among the notables on the women's side. She was 8th of the Dellinger Invitational. O'Brien also finished in the championship race of the Nuttycombe in a time of 20:38. Laura Hamilton at pre-nationals ran 20:55. Grace Brook in 21:10. Tiana Vladik in 21:29. Sailor Hutton in 21:29. And the women for Boise State finished 12th at the pre-national meet. The Colorado State women as well at the Nuttycombe in Wisconsin. Lily Tomasula Martin, one of the many Rams to watch today, finished 31st. Sarah Carter, 21:18. Both of those were PRs for them at Nuttycombe. Fresno State, Gabby Lugo at the Bronco Invitational ran a 22:6. That's the 24th best all-time mark Fresno State history for Lugo of Fresno State. Also at the Bronco Invitational that day, Haley Fernandez, Agita Sventer, Isabel Haberman, Jewel Sasso all had PRs for the Bulldogs. We mentioned the Wolfpack of Nevada, Capital Cross Challenge. Women were 21st. Michaela Schultz running a 21:48. At the Bronco Invitational, women were 17th. Alexis Melendrez in 21:27. Lauren Missick in 21:59. And of course the Lobos, one of the top teams in the country. Kaladi at the Notre Dame Invitational was first, 16:01, a 12-second win. Kurgat, the 2017 cross-country champion, was 5th at Notre Dame. Alexandra Negron was 36. Hannah Nuttall, 17:04. Kaladi, of course, we mentioned, was 2nd at Nuttycombe, and Kurgat was 3rd. Milani and Kurgat, also the owners of championships indoor and outdoors at the 3,000 and 5,000 meter marks. And we'll see them a little bit later on down in Albuquerque at the indoors, and then at Fresno State at the outdoors.
Keaton, when you get a second, obviously you're busy right now. Is Keaton on the call?
So we pick up the women right now as they make their way toward a spectacular mountain range here to the east side or the northeast, running along again a pretty good pack. Starting to spread out just a little bit are the women, and we're seeing quite a bit of what looks like Boise State orange there at the lead very early in this women's cross-country championship. We mentioned it is a relatively compact course, and you can see the action all the way around. Can't always see the individuals, but you can certainly pick up team colors, and it looks like Boise State, 3 of the top 4, and perhaps Air Force sitting right there, and perhaps taking the lead if that's the blue of Air Force. And so it looks like Boise State, 3 of the top 6 right now, Air Force, 2 of the top 6. So right now, early on, Boise State and Air Force kind of dominating things as the pack is still a pretty large pack of 1. Now as they turn back down, we can see a little more clearly, and in fact ahead of that pack is New Mexico, and it looks like it is Kurgat followed by Wayne Kaladi. So as we take a look now as they come into view, it is New Mexico right now, top 2 spots, and I believe that is Kurgat and Wayne Kaladi at the lead, and then the group from Air Force and Boise State making their way around.
Or did you have like an alarm set?
Update from the course. Kurgat and Kalani look to be leading the group around right now. I believe that's Edna Kurgat at the lead. We'll confirm as they get a little bit closer.
Okay, well, like I said, I'll be there early, and then if we have figured out or had issues, I'll be before
Yeah, we'll have to.
You guys aren't going there.
Also in the field today from New Mexico, we haven't mentioned it, Adva Cohen joined the Lobos. She was racing at the World Championships early this year, and so between the 3 of them, Cohen, Kurgat, and Kalani, 3 truly elite runners. We do have 1 Lobo well in front of the field, just difficult to know at this point. That's Cohen, Kurgat, or Kalani from this distance, but we'll try and make that out if we can. But clearly ahead, and then a significant pack to the rear of them. You can see if you're here on site heading back toward the north with our lead cart, leading the way around, and here comes the rest of the field as they make the turn and head back a slightly shorter course for the women here in these 2019 championships. But if that is indeed Edna Kurgat, again, we're not sure if that's Kurgat, Kalani, or Cohen, she may be replicating what happened in her home turf in 2017, where she literally ran away from the field, taking the individual honors. I believe that could be Kalani, Wayne Kalani, now as we take a look, and perhaps Kurgat now in second. And if so, Kalani, the distance champion, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 over her career at New Mexico. She has owned all manner of records and some of the top times in the nation in those distance races as they make their way back toward the eastern mountains and the rest of the pack comes through. So right now it looks like New Mexico, and I believe that might be Kalani, and then potentially Kurgat or maybe Cohen in the top two spots, and then comes the rest of the pack. And again, we want to remind you, the women of New Mexico, the Lobos, looking for their 12th consecutive team championship. But Boise State in that mix, Air Force as well, looking to end that streak if possible.
Oh, it must be McKellar.
And the group now heads toward the farthest point from the finish line in terms of visual contact. As we see them, it is a stretched out pack now. Should make for a good finish, be able to see each of the competitors as they come through and finish their 2019 run. That'll be just a few minutes away still. But if you are on site here in Logan or even watching online, you are witnessing some of the finest distance runners in the country without question competing this morning here in Logan at the 2019 championships.
Someone over there in the crowd is super loud. Bill, I think you might need to go on mute. Whoever's over there in all that crowd is super loud. And she's on right now.
The women continue to make their way around the course here in Logan. The lead has not changed. We believe it is Wayne Kalani, not 100% certain if it's her, Cohen, or maybe even Kurgat, but we believe that is Kalani. As she makes her way back down now, and she has just extended the lead, reminiscent of that race in 2017 when her teammate Kurgat just ran away from the field in Albuquerque. If you follow New Mexico or cross country or distance, you know Kalani and Kurgat regularly almost trade off, not intentionally of course, but 3,000, 5,000, 10,000. Running very well, had some epic battles in the conference with Ostrander, who has just recently graduated, but again, some of the top in the country here competing in the Mountain West in 2019. Looking incredibly strong heading toward the north end. And again, the field now completely spread out. And so now we turn our attention to how the team totals will end up here as they take their top finishers. And of course, lowest point total by place earns the team championship. New Mexico looking for their 12th consecutive, unprecedented. But Boise State certainly in the mix. Our leader running as strong as ever. If you're on site, you are seeing things you just don't see very often. And this is a treat in terms of true elite running. And we'll make the final push now toward the finish.
Be the guy that spoils the moment. I'm good, yeah. They were not, they are. Athletic trainer, we're doing our job.
All right, the final few hundred meters here for our leader as we begin to conclude the 2019 Women's Championship run. We can confirm one thing. It is Wayne Kaladi of New Mexico looking to defend her championship. And I mean, she smoked the field this morning here in Logan, much as her teammate Kurgat did back in 2017. Kaladi now is just going to own this race as she comes through and defends her championship. The New Mexico elite, Wayne Kaladi. An incredibly strong run. Taking the field. And now here comes the rest of the field. And I believe this is Edna Kurgat coming in. Again, 2017 champion, national champion. Back in 2017 was Kurgat. And so the Lobos will take the top two spots, and that'll go a long ways toward securing that team title. We'll see how it all plays out. But Edna Kurgat of New Mexico, a fine 2019 championship. And now here comes the rest of the field, and it looks like Air Force in third and fourth, and in fact it will be. So 1 and 2 to New Mexico, 3 and 4 to Air Force with Mettler and Morris, and then it's New Mexico again, Nuttall. Then Colorado State comes through, Tomasula Martin, I do believe. Then it is Boise State coming through with Peel. And we have our first San Jose State runner coming through in a top 12, Sandoval. The rest of the group coming in, Larkin of New Mexico, Paholek of Boise State. Another Air Force runner is in, Harris of New Mexico. Then a couple of Boise State runners make their way, and that is Monson and Karras. More Boise State coming through. Hamilton is one of the two. Here comes Utah State, Colorado State now. Coming through in a couple of pairs, and now the rest of the field, you can see New Mexico and Wyoming. And then you've got 3, 4 or Air Force runners with a Boise State runner involved there, making their way through. Then Utah State and Wyoming. And the rest of the field comes through the 2019 championship. And what a race it was. And still is as they finish things up here in 2019. And as the ladies finish, we'll take just a couple of minutes. We'll have a 30-minute pause. And then we'll have the grand awards session with individual, team, and coaching awards as the ladies come through. We have a Wyoming runner coming through, Eichen. And a Colorado State runner coming through as well, Jewel. And then Hallam of New Mexico. Burgess of Colorado State. A couple more Spartans coming through. And we're finishing things off here on the women's side, the 2019 Mountain West Championship. Give these ladies a hand as they make their way through and finish a great championship 2019. Much to come, of course. Nationals still upcoming, and you'll follow that and certainly see the impact the Mountain West has nationally. Once we get to the national championships, you'll see a distinct Mountain West presence in the NCAA championship, which is true certainly every year. few more runners on the course. Looks like another 8 to 10 or so as they finish up. Some UNLV runners coming in: San Jose State, Wyoming, Fresno State. See UNLV's Avi Wilson-Petit coming in, 800-meter champion in the Mountain West this past year. San Diego State, Nevada, San Jose State. Fernandez of Fresno State. Lomelli of San Diego State coming in. Kunsko of San Diego State. Moss of UNLV. A couple of Fresno State teammates now finishing up. Menez and Jasso. And to our final 4 or 5 right now coming in: San Diego State, and then Nevada, Fresno State, another Nevada, and a final runner coming in. And that'll be the race for the women on the 2019 championship.